and I'm not wearing a hat. I feel pretty naked without it. But I have a little video here about the total number of Pokemon cards that were printed from March of 24 to March of 25. Again, we're Soda. Find us on YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe, share, comment below. Let us know what you're doing in the Pokemon card community. Let's check out the PokéBeach article. If you look into it, quite a bit of information, but there's a lot of people that are just not quite reading through all the information. I got a couple YouTubers we're going to look at, not try to cut them down, not try to build them up, I guess, but I'm just saying that I don't have the same opinion as them, or they didn't read through the article as much as I thought they would have. Now, looking at this, 10.2 Pokemon cards, those were produced. 10.2 billion, that's what the B, okay? Now, the previous year, we're at 11.9 billion. There's a 14% difference in that. And then if you go back to 2022, it was at 9.7 billion, which is closer to what's been produced this last year. Now, if you look at this and you're thinking, well, gosh, 14% difference from last year. But in reality, if you go from that 9.7 to that 11.9 billion, you're increasing the amount of cards made by about 20%. Crazy number, okay? Now, when we look at this, these are only the English cards. I know there's a couple of YouTubers out there. It Was Never a Phase had a video about this, and I'll kind of show that too. I want to say right here. So this video right here, why are Pokemon cards so hard to find right now? He talked about how Pokemon cards are not going to print as much. What's going to happen here? We don't know if this is going to be all English or how many the breakdown was to these sets. The one thing he did not talk about in this video, which PokéBeach talks about, is it was 75 billion cards in 16 languages. That's going to include the 10.2 billion English cards as well. Now, Chinese and Japanese, the simplified Chinese, the Japanese, they're going to print on demand. A ton of those cards are going to get produced. Plus, you have Korean cards. I mean, it's insane how the number of cards. 16 languages, up one language from last year, okay? Now it says 16 languages in 90 countries and regions. It went from 90. It was 93 the year before, as you can see on here. But it's slowly started to trickle up where more countries are being produced in this. Now, 75 billion, a lot of cards, but I don't think people realize how many Chinese and how many Japanese cards get produced. It's insane. They print on demand. It's crazy how many they produce there. So It Was Never a Phase was talking about this and talking about the decrease and everything like that, but he kind of talked about, like, hey, the 10.2, what is that English? Is that, the breakdown for that? 10.2 billion, all right? So we're going to start using the number 10 billion. We're not going to go 10.2. We're just going to say 10 billion, okay? That's the number of Pokemon cards. This is where people get mixed up. They think that's number of Pokemon packs. It's not the case. We got to divide that bad boy by 10. So that means 1 billion packs were produced. Okay. Now, that 10.2, that 0.2, we're taking that out of there because you have your promo cards that get produced. And then you have just some individual cards that may get thrown in there that aren't promos or something that are some specialty set. Okay. So technically they would be promos. So that's why we're going with just 10 billion cards that are going to be put in packs is what we're going to talk about. Now, Alex from Nostalgianomics. And again, I like both these YouTubers. I'm subscribed to both of them. I really enjoy them. Now, he talked about Pokemon cards. I believe is the future of Pokemon investing on this one. I'm not sure if this is the right video, but he talked about how it's just different now than it was during the XY era. There's more people in the hobby right now looking to invest and things like that. He's not far off. I kind of agree with him with some of those aspects, but the amount of cards produced is insane, okay? Now, if we even look at that PokéBeach article, okay, just look at between 2004 and 2010, 14 billion cards, okay? 14 billion. That's over a 6-year period, okay? Even if you go to the XY sets, 27, this is Sun and Moon here, XY is 21.5. Then you go to 23.6. So they're double the capacity is what they're starting to. This is still nowhere near touching how many they printed back in Pokemon English, okay? Pokemon English isn't printing that much. So you go back and when Alex talks about it, he's like, it's just different now because there's more people in it, more people are keeping it sealed. That's true, but there's less of the older product that's out there because there was just less produced. Sure, there was less people in the hobby, but that's not stopping the people in the hobby right now. The people in the hobby right now, they're going back and buying that stuff. I've always tried to find deals anywhere from generations or black and white moving forward. A lot of the older stuff I cannot pick up and buy because it's just not feasible for me to pull the trigger on it. And even if you buy the packs from back then, okay, we're talking 2010 to 1999 base set. Those packs are so expensive, it's not even worth opening. They're worth holding on to. Okay. Just like Brilliant Stars right now. You can buy packs of Brilliant Stars for less than $10. A booster box, though, is well over 300. It's in the 400s now. The booster box is worth more. The hobby back then keeping it sealed. Most of the people are opening it. Now, what usually happens during, you get a bear and a bull market, when you start getting a market that has a big downturn, people are not looking to invest as much. Okay. Pokey had a video out today. He talked about, back when his distributor, was giving him a deal on, I believe, Obsidian Flames and Paradox Rift or something like $85, $90 a box or something like that. And he ate it up. These still happen, but I just don't think Pokemon is there yet. Okay. Do I think we're going to get back to $80, $90, $100 booster boxes? I don't know if that's going to happen. But the part that Alex, I think, is wrong on here in his videos, he kind of talks about how it's just a different game right now than it was. It's not. It's still the same one. So back then, let's say you had 3 billion cards produced in 2016. Okay. And maybe you had, let's say, 1 million people in the game. These are all hypothetical numbers. Well, now you have 11 billion cards produced, but let's say you have 10 million people in the game. It's not going to be a 1-to-1 ratio type deal. The more people getting into this for investing or just the hobby aspect of it itself has increased as the numbers have increased. So I don't think Alex is right when saying that it's different now because the investing side of it, I don't think so. I think it's always been there. It's always been about the same. People are going to come and go out of the hobbies. The only thing I see now is you see people my age. I'm old as shit. I'm 43 years old. And I am back into Pokemon cards now. Again, I've said this before. I didn't buy Pokemon cards back in 1999. The sole reason I didn't buy them is because I bought football, basketball, and baseball cards. They were cheaper. Pokemon cards were expensive. So I didn't want to buy them because I didn't have the money to spend on them. Okay. Now, with that being said, I remember a time back in, it was like 2001, 2002, when base set packs, they were getting up to like $10. Like there was a huge demand for Pokemon cards then. So this is stuff that's happened. There's some ebbs and flows with it, but a lot of those booster boxes from back, I mean, like look at Phantom Hollows or Hollow Phantoms. That booster box itself is worth a fortune now. Unified Minds was printed a ton. That thing's extremely expensive now. The ETB's at $2,000. And so when you see this stuff, it doesn't matter how much is printed sometimes. Alex is right on that. But there's still a huge demand that people had back then, and that demand has carried. There just wasn't as much product printed back then. And money was a little bit different as there wasn't as much liquid assets people had to pour into some of this stuff. Times were different. You went through the housing crisis from 2007 to 2010. I mean, Rudy from Alpha Investments talked about it. He worked for JP Morgan. The dude is so smart when he talks about this stuff because he was working during this stuff. Money was tougher to come by. Now you have people my age coming back in the hobby saying, you know what? I kind of want to get this stuff again because I didn't get it when I was younger. I kind of just always walked past it, whistled past the grave type deal when I'd see these packs sitting on the shelves and knew, hey, I didn't have $4 or $5 to blow on this stuff. So I'd buy a $1 or $2 pack of baseball, football, or basketball cards. All right. Now, let's take a look at this stuff in perspective. Now, I'm going to pull up the calculator, okay? Let's say there's 10,000 people out there, okay? These are people that do Whatnot, they do Drip, they do YouTube. These are doing rip and shippers, okay? So let's say there's 10,000 rip and shippers out there, which that's a low number, guys. If you go on to Whatnot, you can see every minute of the day there's people going on there. Some are Japanese, of course. We're talking English right now. We're going to say 10,000, okay? So we got 10,000 rip and shippers, all right? Let's say they each rip on average, so 100 packs, that's what we're going to do. So you got 100 packs right there. And then we're going to take that times how many days are in the year. There's 365 days in the year. So that's 365 million packs of cards. Now, remember, we know how many cards are printed. We got 10 billion, and we got to divide that by 10. That's how many packs come, or how many cards come in a pack. So that's a billion packs. We have a billion packs of cards. Now, we have to subtract out the rip and shippers. That's going to leave us with 635 million packs left. That means rip and shippers are at minimum probably doing a third of all the packs that are printed. So if you want to know where the problem is, I shouldn't even say problem, where all the packs are going, why they're tough to get, rip and shippers, okay? They want to buy all the product cheap. The best analogy I could come with this is during COVID, when they had the car crisis. You couldn't find a used car anywhere. It's because all of the used cars were being sold to Rent-A-Price, Midas, all those places like that do car rental businesses. They needed these cars. They had to have rental cars. So they would go to these auctions and buy them all up. That's why the used car market was getting so over flooded with high prices, because people had to have the product. Rip and shippers have to have the product. So when you see this, rip and shippers, they have to get it. So if they're spending $10 a pack, it doesn't matter because they're going to sell them for $12 on their stream. They don't recoup a lot of the money, to be honest with you. I've talked to 3 people that rip and ship, one pretty big and then 2 that are kind of mid-level. And by big, I mean they're probably doing 1,000 packs a week. They're not making a ton of money. Rip and shipping does not make a fortune on it. But the thing is, though, is that they rip and ship all the new stuff versus the old stuff, they're going to make just as much money probably doing it. So a lot of them go for the new stuff. That's why Crown Zenith, Sea and Sky, those were getting broke down and sold because people need them for rip and shipping. So right here with all the cards that are being produced, I really don't think Pokemon is like by any means trying to downgrade this. Pokemon's smart as shit. They're really smart. And so Pokemon knows, hey, we don't want to have a early 2024 type scenario. I remember walking into Walmart, Obsidian Flames, Paradox Rift, Twilight Masquerade, Scarlet and Violet, just sitting there. It was crazy. They produced 17 or 14% more of the product last year. So this makes sense that they're going to bring it down a little bit. I think Pokemon eventually is going to find this nice little happy medium where they're going to actually produce enough cards where scalpers are not going to be able to make a profit off of it. It's not, scalping won't be as much of a thing. They're going to put more vending machines. They're increase the vending machines. I mean, they're going to have 1,500 in the US now. I see those going into the grocery stores, kind of like Hy-Vee used to have all the red boxes here. It already has a 220 hookup. I think they're going to go in there. I think we see one locally for us. We're a town of 55, 60,000. I think we'll get one locally here eventually. Omaha and Lincoln, some of the bigger towns by us in Nebraska, I think they're going to definitely see them. But these numbers right here, they don't surprise me. Like Pokemon, I knew they weren't going to produce a lot more. Yeah, they're opening another printing facility, but people have to realize they don't print all of the cards at the same facility. Okay, the one in North Carolina, that one prints all of the V cards, EX cards, VMAX cards, all that stuff. All the secret rares, alt arts, those get printed there. The common ones and uncommon ones get printed somewhere else, the energy cards. Okay. So Pokemon owns these machines, but they print Lorcana, One Piece, sports cards. I mean, Digimon, Dragon Ball. They print all these different ones. They can't just jump in and start printing whenever they want. They have a schedule because they've rented these printers out or they're printing for other people and making money off that. So, I don't think, don't be frustrated, everybody, because I think Pokemon cards, and like I said, Never Phase, great channel. I just think his numbers were off a little bit when he was going through his video. And then Nostalgianomics, I think that Alex does a pretty good job for the most part. I think sometimes, though, he hypes it up a little bit too much about the investing aspect of it right now. And I think some of the stuff with investing back in the vintage side can be great too. But I get what he's saying. In 21 or whatever, he sold out his whole collection, helped pay for his house and all of his other stuff. Yeah, any debt's bad debt. So if you can sell your stuff and get rid of it, by all means. And one of these times when I have a moment, I will go through and show you guys my collection. I'm sitting on quite a few stuff. Nothing really post Dragon Majesty, maybe. I got some Generations sealed and stuff like that, but nothing really, really early beyond that. Most of the stuff's going to be from Generations moving forward, but I definitely want to show you guys. But again, we are PokeBeach, guys. Give us a like, subscribe, follow, watch one of these 2 videos. I'm not sure which ones they are, but watch one of them. Just let us know what you're doing. And if you guys are having a great time in the Pokemon community, give us a like. And remember, guys, catch them all.